Do we have a motion to go into open? Mr. Harms, second. Second. Mr. Bowman, in favor? Aye. We are in open. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We just met in a closed session for approximately a little more than half an hour, and the item that we discussed was number 1, personnel, which was the nurse and numerical update. And now we are on to our public participation portion of the evening tonight, which is for agenda items only. And concerning the public portion, we have 2 public participation portions tonight. This one, we have an agenda of boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and this is the agenda of things that are listed that we're going to talk about, and that you might want to talk about. In this first session, you come up and say, oh, I'd like to talk about number 1 or number 2, and that's fine. And then the second public participation portion is when if you just want to come up and make a comment about anything that you'd like to speak on. All we ask is that you give your name and address and what you'd like to speak on. So the first one is just on agenda items only, but concerning both of them, we are, as a board, we are going to, there's a policy on 9322, and that's concerning the public portion comment section, and we're going to enforce that, and that is basically, what that means is, you have 3 minutes to make a comment. And when that 3-minute time period is coming to an end, I will just let you know, okay, your time's almost up, and then your comment section will be over for that section. And then if you want to speak again, then there's always that second public portion that you can participate in as well, which also will have the 3-minute limit. So that is the policy 9322, and we're enforcing it. And I welcome everyone here. I see a lot of bright young boys and girls here. Thanks for taking time out of homework and coming and celebrating your successes. One of them being on your intelligence. I'm sure there's a lot of creativity as well, so I can't wait to see you guys and celebrate with you as well. But we're going to start with our first public participation portion of the meeting tonight, and that's for agenda items only that I just spoke about. So if you'd like to speak on any agenda item, please come forward, say your name and address and what you'd like to speak about. Since there is none, we'll close that first public participation portion tonight for agenda items only, and now we're going to go on to committee reports. Does anyone have a committee report that is to speak on?
Mr. President, this is not a committee report, but if you could just allow me just to mention someone who's in the audience tonight who is responsible for all these pictures. Can I mention that as part of the...
Absolutely.
And he's a really good part of the curriculum. If you take a look around, ladies and gentlemen, you'll notice all of these paintings, or these prints, or these paintings. I was hoping that Alva could actually come up for a minute and just tell the audience what these paintings are here for. Many of you know, but I think some of you may not. So would that be okay, Mr. President, at this time?
Yeah, that's fine, Mr. Nelson.
Well, the children are still here, of course, I was thinking, right? Thank you. Just want to come forward, please. That's okay.
Hi, everybody. We're working a program called Picture Person, where volunteer parents take artwork into the classrooms, and we have discussions and ongoing, lively discussions about the artwork. It's not a biography, it's not an art history, it's not art technique. It's just what you see, feel, hear, smell, and paint. And to supplement the classrooms, what we do is we set up a gallery for each grade level. What you see here is called portrait, self-portrait. And tomorrow we will have all the second graders up here walking around, and we have, by some wonderful stroke of luck, we have about 10 volunteer parents that are going to come and join us. And they lead groups around, so it's like a museum trip. So you'll see it from time to time being announced, and everybody's welcome to come and join and walk with the kids and experience just how great they are and how smart they are about art. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to say that with the committee support and also with the PTA support, the Picture Person has really become very popular at Robert Gordon over the last few years, and we hope it continues, and we're happy to spread to other schools. It's really a wonderful opportunity, I think, for children that perhaps don't get the chance to go to museums or going to New York City or wherever the big museums are, to really bring it here to Roselle Park. And we're thankful for your efforts, sir, and also for the efforts of all the parents who are involved. It really brings the parents into the schools and we're really happy about that, as I know Mrs. Kennedy is here around the board. So thank you to all of the parents who are involved in that wonderful program.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Is there anyone else? Seeing there is none, we'll close the committee reports, and now we'll go on to the principal's report. Okay. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. We're very proud here at Robert Gordon School of our students, of our parents, of our staff. We have staff that's second to none, and so much goes on here. And I'm very thankful to Mr. Walkoff for bringing this program back to Robert Gordon School. Mrs. Scutro, our art teacher here, brought it to me when I became principal 4 years ago. It was a program that had been in Robert Gordon many years ago and kind of faded away. And we brought it back, and our PTA has been wonderful in providing extra funds, and our parents have been outstanding coming into the classroom, and I know the students really enjoyed it. We had a math night here for 4th and 5th grade. 4th and 5th graders and their parents, exploring the Common Core through games and different approaches. We had a balanced literacy night. We are fully engaged in co-teaching. It's one of the things I'm very, very proud of here at Robert Gordon School. We have co-teaching going on with our special ed and general ed teachers, as well as our ESL and gen ed teachers. There's very little pull-out here at Robert Gordon. All the children have their extra instruction in the classroom. Our first grade recently did their play and feast for Thanksgiving. We held our first ever kindness walk, where our students circled a block and collected funds from their generous parents. And the funds will be used for our kindness campaign here at Robert Gordon, which will begin on Wednesday with a Curve It Forward assembly, which the students will learn more about. We also are starting Robert Gordon Explores the World, where each grade level has a different country to explore, and that fits nicely with the reading of nonfiction text. So as you can see, we're very busy. Thank you.
And I believe we have some special students to recognize today as well. Mr. Nelson, please do the honors, please.
Okay, so congratulations, boys and girls. We are proud at the Board of Education to present you with these certificates. From us, how much we value you and what you bring to our schools, and particularly how well you did on the exams we're going to recognize you for tonight. Can you maybe share with the group why did you recognize you?
The first 4 students, I believe, received a perfect score on the New Jersey Ask Science that was administered in the spring of 2015. Perfect score of 300. That means they answered every question correctly, and we're so proud of that. As well as the remainder of our students who scored advanced proficient. That means their score was between 250 and 299. So that's quite impressive.
So let's get started, everyone. We're going to take a big picture at the end of everyone, so you can stay up front with with our superintendent and our president of the board. But first, come up individually. Daniel Curry. Nicholas Myers.
Perfect score.
Sebastian Saavedra.
Perfect score for Sebastian.
Ivan Sanchez.
Congratulations, Ivan. Perfect score.
And as Mrs. Kenny just reported to you, between 250 and 299, that's pretty impressive also. So let's hear it for Nicholas Lopez. Amparo or Sofia Sanchez. Alicia Persal. Solon Adams. Michael Alvarez. Elijah Ignacio. Pranay Francis. Christina Moscoso. Isabella Valdez. Ms. Kenny will make sure she gets that certificate, certainly. Jason Torres. Dina Dachit. And Logan Overly. Very proud of all these students. One more round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Before we take a brief recess, the superintendent would like to make Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Miller, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Congratulations, boys and girls, for this wonderful recognition. You deserve it. And congratulations, parents, as well. You have an excellent boys. Congratulations. At this point, it is my responsibility, actually, every district in the state is responsible to report what is called the HIB or the harassment, intimidation, and bullying report. Twice a year, biannually, we are required to report this in public. Okay? In June, I reported the first part of the 2014-15 school year, which went from September to December, and now I'm reporting for 2014-15 from January to June. And the report has 3 different sections. Section number 1 is investigation and incidents in the district. Section number 2 has to do with training provided. And section number 3 is the programs provided for students and staff and so forth. So I'm going to report on the second. I will make comparisons between the two. But just before I do report on the second part of the year on the HIP reports or investigations, I just want to let you know, I did bring in some information that I actually had from before. And the number of investigations, the number of confirmed bullying reports, okay, have really dropped and have been reduced over the last 5 years. As a matter of fact, just to give you some indication, 2011-12 school year, okay, there were 20 confirmed cases from September to December. 12-13 went down to 17, 13-14 went down to 13, and the year 14-15, the first part of the year, was 12. So, the district's doing something good here, something that's working. And in the back, I don't know if I'll see her, Mrs. Backer is here, and if she can just raise her hand. Mrs. Backer is our anti-bullying coordinator. So she oversees all the bullying programs, investigations, and everything that's going on in the district. And we could not be having this rate of success every year that we're reducing the number of bullying incidents, if not for the staff. We have obviously a coordinator, Mrs. Backer, who's doing an excellent job. Then we have our anti-bullying specialist in each building, who is responsible for each building. And obviously we have our administrators and our staff teaching our students good decision-making, good character every single day of the year. So to report, I just wanted to begin with the investigations for the year 2014-15. The first part of the year, as I said, there were 12 incidents. The second part of the year, January to June, there were 13. Okay, so right there you have the numbers for HIV investigations, not incidents, investigations. That went down to 8 and 13. So we reduced the numbers. Investigations means that there might have been an investigation, but it was not confirmed as harassment, bullying, or intimidation. The second section is training provided. And we always provide the training and programs early in the year, obviously, because we want to make sure that people, the teachers, and the staff is trained early in the year, so we have that training to use for the remainder of the year. So, training types, policy, okay? There were 3 sections of training in the first part of the year. There was 0 the second part of the year. We wanted to get that obviously done the first part of the year. For targeted populations, district level administrators, they had 6 the first part of the year, 7 the second part of the year. District anti-bullying coordinator, Mrs. Backer, 16 and 11. School level administrators, 5 and 7. Anti-bullying specialists, 19 and 11. Teachers, 6 and 8. Students, we have 3 training, not programs, training, first part of the year. And parents, we have 1 first part and 1 second part of the year. And then we want to move down to total number of programs provided. And again, we want to get those programs early in the year. For teachers, it was 9, first part of the year, 8, second part. For students, 18 programs, 14 the second part of the year. Parents had 4, and children, and other school staff, 80, part of the instructional staff, it was 9 and 5. So, we continuously train and we continuously provide programs for students. We want to do more. And, Mrs. Becker can certainly, that's one of the areas that we always plan ahead, okay, for the following year to make sure that we have the programs in place that are working for our students. So those are the areas that were reported. And again, we're very proud of the way that we handle bullying incidents. As you know, it's a prevalent part of the school population around the state, and that's why they came up with the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights, to make sure that it's addressed anytime that it happens. And we do take it very seriously here. The administration, all the way to the teachers, and every single staff member takes this very serious. And, we have Mr. Workup here, Mrs. Kenny talking about the art program. That's something that, whether you believe it or not, music, art, those are areas that students develop self-esteem, and that's something that we want to provide for them as well. So, one thing that I want to tell you is the district is doing a lot. We want to do more, and really our target goal is to have 0 incidents of bullying incidents in our district, because that's how we know that our students learn best, when they feel safe in our environment. It's nice for everyone, and people feel comfortable. So we certainly want to make that happen here at Roselle Park. So thank you, and this is our report that we want. I don't know if the board has any specific questions for Mrs. Becker at this time. Thank you, Ms. Miller. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garrido. At this point, we're going to take a brief 5-minute recess and to get you guys at home and relax. And if any extra homework you have to do, or just roll for your parents. And again, we thank you for coming out. And have a chance to get out of here before it's home. So we thank you for coming, boys and girls, and have a great evening. And we are in recess for 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Who will be coming into the high school. He's an artist from Beaumont.
Now that we're back, we're going to start with our next agenda item, which is personnel. I'd like someone to make a motion to approve agenda items 1 through 7, 1 being staff retirement or resignation, 2 being staff appointment, 3 being staff transfers for 2015-2016, 4 being change of assignment, 5 being maternity leave of absence request, 6 being maternity leave of absence request, and 7 being additional high school extracurricular coaches and advisors for 2015-2016. Please note that we have an addendum to this. We're adding Mr. Dominic Silva for volunteers boys basketball coach at the rate of $1. Do I have a motion? I'll make that motion. Mr. Gurdon, second?
I'll second.
Second. Mr. Harms, are there any questions or comments? Just want to quickly brief note and thank the following retirees: Mr. Florio, thank him for his 40 years of service, and also for Ms. Savino as well. We wish them well, and we welcome our new staff appointments to Roselle Park. All in favor? Or I'm sorry, roll call please. I'm sorry, roll call please, Madam Secretary.
Vice President Parr,
Yes.
Mr. Balaban,
Yes, I'm going to abstain on number 2C.
Mr. Bowman,
Yes.
Mr. Bruckenstein,
Yes.
Mr. Dam, Mr. Gurdon,
Yes.
Mr. Nelson,
Yes, but I'm going to abstain on number 2.
Mr. Vida, President Miller.
Yes.
On roll call, motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. And now we're on to education. I'd like someone to approve agenda items 8 through 11, 8 being education program, 9 being educational trip requests, 10 being mentoring plan, 11 being comprehensive equity plan. And does anyone, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Nelson, second, Mr. Harms. Any questions or comments?
With regards to number 11, so I've reviewed the plan, I'm not sure if I understand it, so whenever I see comprehensive equity, I'm thinking something different than I know this was intended. So if somebody could recap that in a minute for me so that I can understand it?
Yes. Mr. Gurdon, the comprehensive equity plan is a plan that annually, it came about actually about 15 years ago. It was called first the multi-equity plan. And what it does, it makes sure that there is no inequity in any of our programs, any of our hiring, or anything like that. It promotes diversity, and that our programs, our curriculum are in any way, they have
They're equal.
equal across the board. So the plan assures the district that we're following that.
Okay. I appreciate that. In my life, outside of the board here, comprehensive equity is stock options and everything else.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Those items are passed. And now we're on to business, where I'd like someone to make a motion to approve agenda items 12 through 16, 12 being federal programs, salary allocations for 2015, 13 being approval of bills, 14 being use of buildings and grounds, 15 being approval of minutes, 16 being winter sports schedules. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Gertz? Second, Mr. Nelson. Any questions or comments?
Mr. President, on 15, I guess A, the first one, November 3rd, I'd like to abstain from both approving the open and closed. I was not present at that board meeting.
So noted. Thank you, Mr. Gertz.
Yeah,
So that's the third.
The third, yes.
Mr. Galvin?
yeah, number 15, the second meeting, I'll abstain, the 17th.
So noted. Thank you, Mr. Galvin. Anyone else?
May I ask a question with regards to number 14? I know there's some recreation programs that are coming due that are in the winter. How do we cover those that may not have a building use in place yet?
That's a good question, Mr. Gertz, because we do have one. And Mrs. Osborne, if there is an application, a building use form application as per our policy, that is filled out and we're not meeting, is there a way that we could pass that, ratify that with board members and by me, like saying, taking a poll of the members?
I'm not sure, what's the...
It's like a regular building use form that we normally approve at board meetings.
Right.
Unfortunately, one did not get in on time for this agenda, and due to the fact that there will not be another meeting, and which I'll get to it in new business, on the 15th of December, I'm like, how do we handle that?
We've handled it in the past where there was not an issue of anybody using it, as long as there was no conflict and all parties involved, documented it, everything's fine, and it just approved the next time. We've done that in the past. We send our wrestlers down to Atlantic City before they even get there. It's after the fact.
Okay.
Sometimes we have it, so I don't think it's a problem, as long as there's no conflict with anybody else, and that's supposed to be worked out through the principals or anybody else. So I don't see it as a problem, and so
And Ms. Osborne?
Yeah, excuse me, that's okay. Without having your policy or your form in front of me, based upon your past practice, that would be acceptable. I'd have to look at the documents specifically to make sure that there wasn't an issue, which I could, of course, do.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Osborne, and thank you, Mr. Harms. Anyone else with questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Those items are passed, and now we're on to continuing business, Mr. Grigo.
Ms. Miller, as of today, there has been one student that has been identified as not residing in Roselle Park and therefore then they were removed from the school district.
Thank you, and now we're on to new business. Does anyone have anything for new business?
Mr. President?
Mr. Greer?
I have two items. Number one is something I'd like yourself and the board to consider as we move into 2016, I guess it is, right? I know we've moved our time or adjusted the format of our meetings to, immediately go into closed session. And it oftentimes, there's important work that does happen in closed session, but at the same time, evenings like tonight, we have the children of the district waiting patiently for us. So I'd like yourself and the full board to consider, potentially moving it to 6:15 or 6 o'clock when we get together as a board, start our sessions and go into close. And you know what, if we have to wait 15 minutes to reopen, maybe that's better than having the children waiting and growing anxious and, for us to come. So just something to consider. The second thing I have is to Mr. Guerrero regarding park. My understanding is park results are been made available to the school districts 2 or 3 weeks back, maybe I'm off by a week or two. Question one is, do you have an update on that regarding trends at the district level, any findings, any items that you're able to speak to? And then secondly, when is those results going to be available to the parents of the students within the district?
Yes. First of all, to answer the first part of your question, we are currently analyzing the scores. We do have some preliminary numbers right now, looking at just general numbers. We are at or above state average, which I think is very good, considering that it's a first-time test. This is the baseline. To be Roselle Park, to be at or above state average, I think is a good sign right now. We will have, obviously, more detailed analysis coming up in the next week or so. Mr. Salvo and I are going to sit down. The state has created a template that's going to be used across the state, so everyone consistently reports the scores the same, and it does compare schools to state average and to the park consortium as well. In terms of when this is going to be reported, we have 60 days after we received the last scores, which was just a week ago. So we're looking to report to the public in a PowerPoint presentation, most likely the second board meeting in January. At that point, we will also send out letters to the parents with score reports. So we're looking at mid-January to get those things out, to get them out. Okay? But it will be done consistently across the district, not one school doing it at one time or not. We're sending it out all at the same time.
Fair enough. Good, thank you.
Thank you.
In conjunction, but I just wanted to ask about the student records. Now, all the standardized test results, do they become a permanent record along with the report card that's held for students, or just the report card is held? In other words, the standardized test score results that the school receives on a student, is that part of the student record that's maintained like almost?
It does go into the student personnel file, yes.
It does? Okay.
Yes, it does, including report card grades and any other testing that we do every year as well.
Okay, so it's part of the permanent?
It is.
Okay.
Anyone else with new business?
Mr. President, I got one more. Mr. Greer did such a great job with the park. And I know this is catching you off guard. So the district spent an awful lot of money to provide the one-to-one initiative at the middle school. And you had Mr. Estrada come present to the board, the public, multiple times. Number one is, how is that going? I know that we just provided the devices to the second group. I think they're maybe in their second week of everybody having those. And number two is, I would ask that you would bring Mr. Estrada back in January maybe not the second board meeting, but maybe, or the beginning of February, to talk real briefly about what we've learned from that, and, you know, what he thinks is going real well with that
Well,
program.
I did submit a report in November to the board, and I did convey the report in public. However, my plan is, obviously, we're only into the second week. I did sit in one of, there was a STEM, girls STEM club meeting the other day. They were using their laptops very nicely as they were doing their projects, which was way above my head. It was really a wonderful thing to see. Being the second week or so for use, it's really too early to give a report. What I would like to do, other than Mr. Estrada to come in, is to have Ms. Carlin and a couple of the teachers, 2, 3, 4 teachers, to come in and do a full report of how things are progressing in the class. So certainly, I would certainly continue to update the board and the public on our initiative. It is it's an expensive initiative. It's something that, students, I believe, in my mind, they're going to gain quite a bit of knowledge, and it's a tool that they're going to be able to use to really expand their instruction and learning. So, but we will be reporting in different times of the year. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Burton. Anyone else for new business? Just wanted to say, after discussions with the board and Mr. Garrido and Ms. Gercio, due to the fact there was no pressing business at hand going forward in December, we are going to cancel our December 15th board meeting. So that would mean our next board meeting will be January 5th, and that would be the location.
Middle school.
That would be at the middle school, January 5th at 7 p.m. And we look forward to seeing you there. And by saying that, though, we bid farewell to a couple board members, Mr. James Dan, who unfortunately could not make it tonight, and also Mr. Scott Bruckenstein, and we thank them. Thank you, Mr. Bruckenstein, for your service on the board, and we wish you well, and don't forget about us, as we were going to welcome back Mr. Gerton, and welcome Mr. Cancino and Mr. Seacow as well coming January. So we look forward to that, and with that said, now we're going to open up the public participation portion of the evening tonight. If you would like to speak on anything, please come forward and state what you would like to state, your name and address, and what you'd like to speak about.
So here's 150 Berwyn Street. I don't want to take the time before, but and I think Mr. Burton for bringing up number 11. So that's just basically a EE, is that correct? EEOC.
It is. It's part of that. It's to ensure equity across the district.
And then 10 is the mentoring plan that is part of the mentoring program for
It's part of the professional development program. So we need to have a mentoring plan to mentor the teachers.
And are both of those openable now or ever or after they're approved by the county? For matter of protocol, Mr. Vita and Mr. Dan, they both gave notice?
Correct.
So the attorney stated that she hadn't reviewed the policy, but if the policy is reviewed and I guess an approval is needed, I guess a meeting will be called. But we'll assume that that's yes.
Yes, we would have to notice for a special meeting.
But I guess my second point is perhaps the attorney could review the attendance policy, because I remember in August there was an issue with members not being physically present. But I know that the governing body and other school districts have policies where if someone is available by phone or someone is available by that way, that could be done. So just to prevent something like that from happening, maybe the attorney could review to make sure that the wording or maybe it could be updated or reviewed and then updated.
I could certainly review, absolutely, I can certainly do that. I think what you're saying, though, is still if action needs to be taken by the board, we would still have to notice a meeting, whether...
Oh, that's correct. No, that, right.
Yeah, absolutely.
that was understood, but I'm saying if that happened, or if future for any reason, like we had an agenda meeting in August, where it was just one item, and if the wording had said it'd be called in, or perhaps that could have been done. And just my other question, just out of curiosity, it's nothing else. So when there's pay, and it was before the contract was agreed upon, and I guess there was a rate. If that rate went up with the contract, that's retro pay, correct? Like, I'm just giving you an example for you. So is that like announced, or is that understood when it's approved? So like say John Smith is the butterfly coach at $4. The contract comes in as $5. But there's no notice, or is there a notice that says,
Sure, yeah. The notice essentially comes through the contract settlement. There will always be a statement about retro pay, meaning that the parties will either agree to retro pay or they won't. And that would be part of the memorandum of agreement settlement contract.
and that covers
And that would cover, it would
Notice.
either be a broad statement with respect to all pieces, or it would be specific, it's usually broad as to everyone.
Thank you.
Seeing there's no one else, we'll close the second public participation portion of the evening tonight. And I'd like to ask someone to have a motion to adjourn. Mr. Harms, second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned, and our next meeting will be in the new year, January 5th, at the middle school. At 7 p.m. That is a reorganization meeting. Have a good evening. We are adjourned.